Hey everyone, Scott from Hoarder's Hide here. Today I have something brand new for you. The first of what I hope to be many episodes of 7.5 questions. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So what the hell is 7.5 questions anyways? Well, it's a new twist on the Q&A format. I will be asking my guests 7 questions. 6 of them they're given ahead of time in order for them to have ample time to prep whatever comics or artwork or whatnot they want to show off. The 7th question, that's something I'm going to make up during the Q&A. The half question, though, is where it gets fun. My guest gets to ask and answer a question all on their own. But the tricky part about it is they have to use 4 keywords that I give them throughout the course of the Q&A. My first guest on the inaugural episode of 7.5 Questions is Dave from Marc Spector Comics. So let's check out his intro and then dive right into 7.5 questions. All right, we're live. Got Dave from Marc Spector Comics here, my first guest on 7.5 questions. Why 7.5? Because 10's cliche, 5's not enough, and 8 would be just silly. So let's go do 7.5.
So, what's going on, Scott? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, not a problem. Glad you decided to be my first guinea pig. As I've already explained to all our viewers at home, you were given 6 of these questions ahead of time. Gives you plenty of time to think out some thoughtful answers and get whatever books or whatever miscellaneous items ready to show off to go along with your answers. The 7th question will be made up as we go along based on some of the answers you're going to be giving.
Okay.
To your other 6 questions. And the half question is a question you're going to make up yourself and answer yourself based on 4 keywords that I give you. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your first keyword now.
Okay.
You ready?
I'll write it down.
All right. Your first keyword is yarn.
Jeez.
Goes along with your unboxing video you just did. So that's your first keyword is yarn.
There's the book right there. Yarn Man. Yarn Man number 1. All right.
All right. So let's start off. First question. How did you come up with your IG handle?
Okay.
And your profile photo?
All right. So my IG profile, I'm a big, Marc Spector, Moon Knight fan. I've always been a big fan of the characters since I've got into comics. And I wanted to do something a little different than just like adding, like Dave comics or something like that. So I started like venturing around and seeing what combinations of, Marc Spector or Moon Knight, Marc Spector I could use. And that one ended up just working out using Marc Spector _comics for IG and then Marc Spector comics for YouTube. So I just ended up using that and no one was using that IG profile name. So I just stuck with it.
Did you try a lot of different variations to come up with that?
Yeah, I had to play around with it a few different ways. Didn't really know at the time that, a lot of like the IG tags had to be all together or like you had to put like an underscore or something like that. So I had to play with different variations to get to where I got to now.
And did you have any second choices? Anything, fallbacks or anything else you were looking at before you settled on Marc Spector comics?
No, not particularly. I had like something like Moon Knight, or something Moon Knight, Marc Spector, something along the lines like that. If I couldn't get something like that, I probably just would have just done something like Dave's comics, or something that wasn't already used along those lines. So I was glad to see that Marc Spector comics worked out.
All right. Any books to drop on us on this question? Or we on to question number 2?
Yeah, since we're talking about Marc Spector, Moon Knight, I figured I'd show off my my personal grail that I finally was able to get, this past year. And
oh, nice.
Here's Werewolf by Night 32. Was on my personal hunt list for about 2 years now, and I was finally able to pick this up this year at a nicer grade than I thought I was going to be able to get. So originally I was shooting for around a 5.0, and then ended up getting the 7.0 on auction. So when I did, and it ended up being, it was pretty cool because it was a UK price variant on top of that as well.
I was just going to ask about that. I noticed that. How does that affect value compared to the US version? Are they pretty much in line?
It's a little bit more value. I don't know how much more valuable you can, what you can put a value on that, but it's much more scarcer than the 25-cent regular American version, because there's only, I want to say 40 to 50-ish graded copies of the UK price variant versus the regular 25 center, which has I think a few thousand. So there's only like 20 or so graded copies higher than this one in this UK price variant.
And do you know if it came out at the same time as the US version?
It came out at the same time as the US version.
Cool.
So that I know, yeah, because it says, $875 is when it's listed on there. Yep.
It's one I don't have.
And the cool thing that differentiates it as well is they also list it as Marvel All Color Comics on there as well, where a regular one would just say, I believe, Marvel Comics.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's neat.
That's a neat little feature on it that they add with the British copies.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Question number 2. What was the first comic you remember reading?
All right. So I had to actually, before we jumped on, I had to reread the issue because I hadn't read this issue in quite some time. I don't know if this was the first comic book I ever read. This is just the one that really jogs my memory as the oldest one I remember reading. So this was Flash #1 from the second series. This is from 1987, which is actually the year I was born. So that's pretty cool. So this is a story on Wally West, which is my favorite Flash character. And I had to reread it right before we went on just to remember the story. But it's a pretty cool story. He's in Manhattan helping out this doctor. He has to get a heart basically transported over to Seattle in like 5 hours. And at this point, he's not as fast, like he is like, speed of light fast. So it takes him a little bit longer to get there. And he asks the doctor, well, what are you going to do for me in return? I need to get paid somehow. So he asks for paid health insurance on top of it. So that was pretty funny. And he gets the heart over to the patient in Seattle in like 3 hours. And there's like stories in between how he gets there. He's fighting Vandal Savage in between. And then that's pretty much the story. But it was good to reread this issue again.
Now, is that the actual book that you first remember reading?
Yep. The actual book. Yep.
So you've had that. Did you buy it yourself?
This is the book I bought myself. I've only been into comics probably about 5-6 years. I didn't grow up in comics as a kid. This wasn't, I only got into this later in life. So that's a neat little fun fact about me is, comics was not my first thing I collected.
And you said that book's from 85 or 86?
87. Yep. This was the
Oh,
year,
87.
the year I was born. It was 87. Just this came out a few months before I was born.
And then, so the first time you read this was 5 or 6 years ago? Is that what
Correct.
you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's definitely not the norm in the community, it seems.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So to have one of your grails already of only being in the hobby for 5 or 6 years is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right. Anything else regarding that question you want to add?
Nope, that was it. I just thought, it just happens to be on top of it a book that's only a few years, a few months older than me as well too, which is
definitely know what I was expecting on that question.
Yeah, a few little add on to that.
All right, so what are you drinking there? That's not one of your questions, by the way.
This was actually one of the same beers I was drinking earlier. This is Wachusett Wally. It's a hazy IPA. It's like a brewery, maybe, I don't know, like 30, 40 minutes from my house.
Local brews are always the best.
Yeah, local craft brew. Good stuff.
All right. Your second keyword.
Oh, all right.
Ready? Second keyword. Remember the first one?
Yarn.
Yarn. All right. Your second keyword is orange.
Orange?
Orange.
Orange. All right. Interesting. All right. Yarn and orange.
Yarn and orange. All right. Question number 3. When it comes to your personal collection, what's your favorite age, genre, publisher, and title? And each one of those answers is not independent of the others. They can all be something separate.
I'd probably say it's kind of like my favorite era right now. It's Bronze Age.
Okay.
And I'm gaining a little bit more favoritism towards Golden Age. But I'd say overall my favorite is Bronze. Favorite publisher, and it's mainly because I have probably 70 to 80% of it is Marvel.
Okay. Which would stand to reason with Moon Knight being high up on your list.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And that's, it also falls into Bronze Age, which is nice on top of it. I've been reading a lot of the Jack Kirby, and a lot of his good stories come from Bronze Age. So that's a nice little addition to that as well. What else did you have there for the questions?
Genre and title.
Genre, my favorite genre is horror.
Okay.
I like
definitely
horror.
Lots of good Bronze Age horror. Yes,
exactly. So DC and Marvel both had great horror, and I like a lot of like the sci-fi. Like, so going into the Golden Age, I like a lot of like the pre-code sci-fi horror, books that are in there as well. So that's why I like Golden Age and Bronze Age, because those are the two great periods for horror and sci-fi.
And title. Can you pick a title? What's your favorite title from across all ages, genres, publishers? If you had to pick one title that's all you could ever read again.
Strange Tales. Strange Tales from the Silver Age.
Good answer.
Stan Lee, Jim Steranko, just two classics that they span throughout the I want to say from like the 130s to like the 160s in that Strange Tales run.
That was a well-rounded title because you never know what you were going to get from issue to issue.
Absolutely. So I try to collect those whenever I stumble upon them in LCSs or flea markets. I always try to get Strange Tales because it's such a great series.
Awesome. Any books to go along with that question?
I wish I had some on. I didn't pull any. I do have a Strange Tales 169 upstairs, and but not with me right now, which is probably one of my favorite ones in there. It's the First Brother Voodoo.
Right, right. That's a pretty hot book right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hot book. Another close one is one.
Did you have it before it was hot?
Yeah, yeah.
Good for
I
you.
I bought it at some point last year, like right before COVID hit. I've had it. So I've had it for a while. Another good one is the nice little. I like the cosmic aspect of Strange Tales towards the end with the I think it's like 156 or 157 with the Living Tribunal story,
Right.
and like the whole like cosmic powers you get, towards that later part, and it just ties in with Warlock and Gamora. So those I like those stories as well. I'm big into the cosmic stories.
All right. Let's proceed to the next question then. Question number 4.
Okay.
And since you've only been into the hobby for 5 or 6 years, you may not have as many good stories for this question as some.
Okay.
But what is that one book that got away from you? Something that you, looking back on, I wish you would have bought, you could have bought, but didn't.
I was starting to feel that way with my Werewolf by Night 32. That was the one book I was really starting to get worried about, because when I first got into the hobby, my first large purchase was ASM 300 at a 9.8, and at the time, I could have bought Werewolf by Night 32 at a 9.0, and I ended up deciding to buy that instead. So once the news found, that Moon Knight was going to have a first show, I was like, oh crap, if I don't get this book soon, I'm never going to get this book. And lo and behold, I was able to finally get that book. That would have been the one book that would have gotten away. And since then, I don't think there's been a book that I could say has gotten away that I've wanted to get or wanted to obtain.
So, but you finally did get the book.
Yeah, I just got it. Yeah, I just got it a few months back. Yep.
Yep. So happy ending anyways for that.
Exactly.
Anything in your collection that you wish would have gotten away? Anything that you just you thought you had to have it, and then you had that buyer's remorse set in?
I can't say I have that just yet. Not in the 5 years I've been 5-6 years I've been collecting.
Good for you. Very fortunate.
I've been fortunate so far. Yep.
All right. Time for another keyword.
All right.
So far we've got yarn and we've got orange.
Oh, man.
So the next keyword is baseball.
Baseball. All right.
I just happen to have, for some odd reason, a Mike Schmidt autographed baseball sitting in front of me. So that's why that.
Okay.
And don't ask me why it's sitting here on top of my stack of comics, but it is.
Mike Schmidt. I remember him playing.
So baseball is your third keyword.
All righty.
All right, on to question number 5. Who are your favorite artists?
Oh, nice. I'm glad you asked. All right. So favorite artists. I'm going to start off with, so I guess I'll give a few in different eras. Golden Age, I'd probably say it's a tie between Schomburg and Frazetta. Silver Age, I'm going to have to say, probably say John Romita. I'm a big fan of his.
Right. Senior?
Yes, John Romita Sr. Yep. I liked his run during Amazing Spider-Man. Bronze Age, it'd have to be Kirby. Big Jack Kirby fan. And he also goes into Silver Age as well. I loved a lot of his artwork during the Fantastic Four run and Avengers. And then modern, I'd have to say there's a bunch of new artists I'm a big fan of. I like Alex Ross. I like Raza. I like I like Campbell. I like. There's a bunch of them in the modern era right now that I've been collecting quite a bit. So I'd probably say, yeah, those are my my go-to artists right now.
Yeah, some big names there. Did you have any original art? Do you collect it at all?
I do have original art, and if you give me a second, I can go grab that.
Sure.
All right, so I'll be right back.
I need to have the Jeopardy theme song queued up for moments like this, I guess. I will add that to my checklist of things to do for the next episode as we wait on Dave to come back. So make sure you let me know what you think in the comments so far. You want to see more of these episodes? You want to be on an episode? Let me know. I'll be glad to schedule you in. Just a little FYI for everybody. He's had these questions for a week now, so he could have had all the stuff ready to go. Just saying.
All right. So what's going on?
Oh, no, I wasn't talking bad about you at all.
You're talking crap.
I was not talking.
All right. So I do have some original paintings, original art. This is from an independent publisher. This is new, nothing older. I don't have any of the older art. I wish I had some.
Don't we all?
And I showed this, I think, maybe a couple years ago. So I had bought this directly from the artist, and this is from Robert Geronimo. And let me see if I can move this a little bit. So this is one of the cover art for the piece from Blood Realm. This was an independent publisher from Alterna Comics. It's like a local publisher up in New Hampshire, but the artist is out of I believe New York. And so he does. This is all of his original art is painted, and a few of the covers are digitized. So this is the actual cover. So the reds are digitally added on there to add for the Blood Realm. And
so the colored card you're holding, is that?
This is what the cover looks like.
All right, so that's not the actual, but it's not like an ash can size comic. It's
no, it's this is just like a card print on there,
like a trade card showing.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So this is the actual painted cover that I'm holding, and I believe that's from issue 3. Yeah. See, and he personalized it there.
Oh, cool.
To Dave, thank you for supporting Blood Realm. Lord Cyphus approves, and that Robert Geronimo. So pretty cool. By from the artist, and this was one of the pages from the same issue, the interior. That's one of the new characters. From the storyline. It's like one of the middle pages in there. I had to pick that up because that thing looks so cool.
So is that an actual story page, or is that like a pinup page in the middle of the book?
Yeah, it's one of the story pages in there that that's painted as well. So it's pretty cool. Like, and I said, any of the reds that are added on there are all digitally added. So
I'm assuming you have the book itself.
Yeah, it's upstairs in one of my short boxes. Yeah, somewhere buried in there. But
always said there's an unwritten rule. If you have a piece of artwork, you have to have the book that it was from.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So that's my only 2 original art pieces that I have. That's the only 2 I could afford at the time. They're pricey.
Plans to get any more? They're actually, if you look around, they're not. Depending on what you're looking for. I don't know if you saw the video I did the other day. I had a piece from, I think the book was Fallen Angel. I
Okay.
ended up getting for $40 ship.
Oh wow, cool.
So if you look around, may not be exactly what you're looking, but if you're buying art for the sake of buying art, you can pick it up cheap.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's just looking around. I look at some of the Heritage and Comic Link auctions, and they have some original art on there too. So I guess it's just like kind of like focusing my time, and I'm pretty sure I can buy a pretty affordable artwork on there as well. So I got to be a little more dedicated towards it and disciplined, and I'm pretty sure I can get some more to my collection.
Right. I assume you probably a Moon Knight piece is on your list to get.
I'd love to get one of those. I'd love to. I haven't seen any on there.
Yeah, they're depending on the artist you're looking for. I'm actually on my short list as a piece by Stephen Platt. I want to.
I'd love to have. Yeah.
I want a Moon Knight piece by Platt, but they're definitely pretty pricey.
They are pricey. I do have that Stephen Platt, Marc Spector Moon Knight run, but I'd love to have that an original art page from one of those books in my collection. One day.
Yeah, when those books came out, it's kind of when I was starting to get into comics when I was in college. So that's
okay.
One reason that those issues really stick out to me.
Nice. I did bring some Frazetta and some Schomburgs with me, so I can show that off. Not original art, but just comic books. But this was actually my first Golden Age book I purchased. I bought this maybe 2-3 years ago, and this is Real Life Comics, issue number 23, and these are one of the more affordable Schomburgs you can get. It's not like like a timely Marvel comic. Those go for quite the premium, but some of these lesser named titles you can get pretty affordable prices and in a good grade. So still shows some war action going on there, but it's not like your Namor the Submariner, detailed action that he normally is known for. So
yeah, that looks like a really nice copy too. It looks better than a 6.0 just from.
Yeah, it's in really good shape. So that was my first Golden Age book I purchased, and this was my second Schomburg cover I bought, I think last year. This one's a much lower grade, but this is Thrilling Comics. I like the little jungle scene going on there. This is Thrilling Comics number 60. So this is one of his airbrush covers. Has a little bit of writing on there. Looks like some kid who's doing some mathematics on there as well.
Yeah,
as you can see. So I thought it was pretty funny. But this was my second book I purchased, a Schomburg.
I've got a couple issues of that's Thrilling, but I'm not sure who the artists are. I'll have to check.
A lot of those later ones were Schomburgs. And then my one and only Frazetta, which I had to get this one, which was a classic weird science fantasy. This is what I was getting back into, is like the pre-code sci-fi stuff. This was that series, weird science fantasy, weird fantasy, and weird science is just great cover art.
When is that one from?
This is 1955. This was the last issue for this run as well. And this is that classic Frank Frazetta artwork, that little caveman action going on there. And so I'm happy to have this in the collection. I'm now looking for Buck Rogers. I want to go like one of the Buck Rogers classic Frank Frazetta as well. So that's on my hunt. And I'm looking for an LB Cole cover this year as well. So hopefully when cotton season opens up, I can get an affordable LB Cole cover.
Yeah, we've talked Cole before, so there are definitely some cool covers he had.
Yeah.
And they pop up in some random places. I think we talked about he did some of the classic illustrated covers.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Which would definitely be some of the more affordable ones you could get.
Yep. So I'll see what I can get once con season opens up. See what's out there. there's definitely a lot of LB Coles to choose from.
All right. Well, good luck on the hunt for more artwork.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
If you come across any Stephen Platts on the cheap, see if they got extra.
I'll let you know.
So, all right, let's move on to question number 6. Do you collect anything besides comic books and comic-related items?
Yeah. So,
Yep. Let's see what you got.
So, prior to comics, which I've only gotten into like 5-6 years ago, I grew up collecting sports cards. Sports cards was my thing. Baseball cards, football cards, basketball, and I think a little bit of hockey. But I collected a lot of the Michael Jordan cards, a lot of baseball rookie cards. I was into it when in the early 2000s, big into like the Randy Mosses, the Peyton Manning, stuff like that. A lot of like the popular cards. And then I got out of that as I grew up a little older, and I was there for when the sports card market crashed. So that's when it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth when I stopped collecting sports cards. But I still have them all in my collection. I never sold a single one. They're all still there. After that, I got into Pokemon cards. So I still have my original Pokemon collection. Got into Pogs and Beanie Babies. So I got a little bit of everything in the 90s. The whole 90s rage of collecting, I was pretty much in all of it except for comics.
And you still have it all?
I still have it all. It's all somewhere. It's either at my parents' house. The Pokemon cards, I think I still have, upstairs in a closet somewhere. Sports cards are at my parents' house, along with my Beanie Babies and my Pogs. If you guys remember what Pogs are, it was a little.
I think I've got a sheet of them sitting beside me, the Skybox ones that came in a Wizard magazine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, there was a little short period of time where Pogs were hot. People were like chasing specific kinds. I just bought whatever I could get my hands on. Those and the metal slammers. And that was pretty much it when it came to Pogs. And people used to like play with them. I used to play with them in the schoolyard and stuff like that when I was like in elementary and middle school. And that was pretty much it. So I still got a tube of slammers and Pogs sitting somewhere in my parents' basement.
Have you thought about getting back into any of the old collections and rehashing any of that?
No, if anything, I'd probably just to getting rid of them, just like either sell them just to clutter up, because it's just cluttering the space down into my parents' basement. It's just sitting there. I have no desire to get back into any of that stuff for collecting wise. My main focus and passion now is just comics, and that's really it. I never got into the Funko Pops or any of the other associated collecting genre that goes with comics, like I said, Funkos. You have what else? Statues. I never got into statues as well. I just wanted to mainly focus on collecting comic books. So that's really my only collecting hobby right now.
Got it. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with everything I used to collect. It's kind of time to get rid of it, I think. But
yeah.
But then again, I'm a hoarder, and it's hard to get rid of anything.
Yeah, apparently in the last couple of years, Pokemon cards have spiked again and got popular. I don't know I guess I don't see it personally, because when I collected them as a kid, I just collected them just because that was the fun thing to do and play the video games and stuff like that. So I lost touch of that like years ago, but apparently they're hot again. So I don't know.
A lot of stuff's hot again.
It seems like a lot of the nostalgic stuff from the 90s is getting hot. Maybe it's just my era of collecting. I don't know.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of different reasons for that right now. All right, that's question number 6.
All right.
Last keyword.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
Last keyword. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
let's go. I'm looking around for something to give me um, running.
Running.
Running. Running. So your 4 keywords that you're going to have to ask yourself a question using are yarn, orange, baseball, and running. So you got a few minutes. You don't have to stress out yet on it.
Oh man! All right.
Still got question 7. This is the one you didn't get any prep time for. This one I'm just making up right now off the top of my head. It'll be an easy one though.
Okay.
Before I ask that question, I have a question that kind of goes to the last 6.
Okay.
Do you, you said you've been collecting for 5 or 6 years. Do you know what your book count is right now? Do you know how many you've been able to amass in this short period of time you've been collecting?
I don't have a specific number. I know a lot of people use like collecting data apps or like a spreadsheet algorithm, something like that to tally their comic books. I can tell you what I have in terms of short boxes and long boxes, and maybe you can kind of tabulate how many comics I have. Currently, I have 1 long box and 5 short boxes and about, I want to say 40-ish slab books. So whatever that amounts to, probably, and probably like about, I don't know, 30 to 50-ish floppies just lying around stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, we've all got that.
Yeah. So whatever that amounts to, that's what I got currently in the PC.
So, well, you got me beat on the slabs.
Okay. So and I kind of have to be stringent and strict about how many books I have in the PC, because I'm limited in my office and closet area of how many books I can have due to space. So
space and storage is definitely a premium.
Yeah, and I want to keep it in a good and like climate controlled environment as well. So I don't want to just put a lot of stuff in that one little crammed area. So that's why I gotta kind of keep tabs of how much I have in there, and I want to continue to add more short boxes to the collection, because then that becomes pretty worrisome, especially for the wife too. She'll start to freak out.
Yeah, I found out a little too late that the short boxes are definitely better for storing than the long boxes.
Yeah, I definitely know.
You can find more places to hide them, more places to stack them, and they're a hell of a lot easier to pick up and move around.
It's true, because I got that one long box in my closet area, and I have my slabs in that tight little space next to it, and then I have my 4 or 5 short boxes right on top, and it's so much easier to navigate with the short boxes.
So, all right, on to question number 7, and you're still thinking about your half question, right?
Okay. Yep.
All right, question number 7. In your unboxing video earlier today, where you unboxed that RAAOK, you kept referencing the comics community.
Yes.
And the community you're a part of. So what does that mean to you in forms of collecting and in just everyday life, basically, and in comparison to real life?
Like the collecting community that we're a part of?
Yes.
So I'm, when I first started collecting, I just bought, books, whatever I went to the comic shop, whatever I could find, whatever, pointed interest in me. And it wasn't until I started going on YouTube and kind of like doing some more research about comic related stuff is when I found, the great community that we're a part of today. And when I, found Steve's channel and all of the other, great community members that are a part of the Berg fam, is when I started to get a good sense of like the great community that we are a part of. So, it's just great going out there, talking to people about, the great hobby that we're a part of. And from time to time, it's just like you have like some, tough times and stuff like that. It's good to just talk to somebody else. And that, the community's been great with that since I started collecting. And it's always fun to just go out there and just meet new collectors from the community when you get a chance. So that's been a great blessing as well.
All right. So who was the first in the comic community? Who was really the first person that made you go, wow, this, comic collecting community on Instagram and YouTube is really something different? I mean, who was it? I don't want to necessarily say, mentor, but
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, for lack of a better word,
I'd probably say like the first person I could just really talk to and just like, not worry about what I say is probably Steve. I've talked to a lot of people, locally and stuff like that, and they're all great people. Don't get me wrong. But it was just something about like just talking to Steve and then just meeting, all the other people in the Burke fam chat that I've just been able to just shoot the shit with and have a good time. That's I'd probably say, I talk to people from time to time on IG and stuff like that, but there's just some people I can just talk to and not really care and have a good time.
Now, admit it though, the tank top's a turnoff.
What is it?
The tank top is a turnoff, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that's his thing.
Hashtag no sleeves. Team no sleeves.
And to go along with this question, I saw a video you did where you and a buddy went to a flea market.
Yeah.
And did some searching. Now that friend, how far away is he from you?
Yeah, so that's my buddy Rayman the Silencer Man. He's been collecting for a very long time. I didn't find out that he was local to me until I started watching his videos on YouTube. I didn't know he was nearby, and that he mentioned one day that I'm in Massachusetts. And I was like, well, I always go hunting at this flea market, the Grafton Flea Market, and that's like 35 minutes for me. And he lives like the next town over. So I was like, oh, one day you mind if I just go hang out with you and just do some hunting? Because he always seems to have a great time and just picks up all these cool books. So I was like, yeah, swing by. And ended up meeting him. He was a great guy. And I've gone hunting with him probably 4 or 5 other times at that flea market, and then at another local flea market, like maybe a half an hour from me. So he's only like a good 30, 35 minutes away from me. And since then, I found out that there's probably a good 20 or so community members on YouTube and IG that live within an hour of me, which is pretty cool. And yeah. I've hunted with Karate Kevin, Superpower Review. I don't know if you're familiar with his channel. He lived not too far from me as well. I've hung out with him a few times as well. He's a great guy. So it's
these are people you never would have met if it weren't for
people I would have
the online community.
Yep, I would have never known who they were. I've never met them prior if it wasn't for the YouTube IG community. Yep, exactly.
All right, awesome. So, question 7.5.
All right.
Do you have it yet?
So I have to make a question based off of the 4.
Based off those 4 words.
All right. And do I answer it or do you have to answer?
You ask and answer.
Okay. All right. I think I got this, and I'm gonna kind of tie this into a cartoon show I grew up watching. That was pretty near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
So maybe you'll know what it is too. All right. So what do you call an orange cat that may or may not like to play with a ball of yarn
Okay.
loves baseball, and is not a big fan of running.
I'm typing this question out as we go. Loves baseball and is not a big fan of running. Is it Garfield?
It is. Yeah, Garfield.
I'm not sure where the baseball came in from. I don't remember any baseball in Garfield.
I don't either. I just had to add it in there.
That's right. It's your question and your answer.
Yeah. So that's the quickest thing I could think of on the top of my head. And with the color and then the yarn, I was like, all right, I got to go Garfield.
All right. That's like I said. It's your half a question and your answer. That's what it's there for. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you think I should have asked and didn't? Anything you just want to share?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Like I said, as for collecting goals, I still have a few more things to kind of tabulate towards the end of the year. I still want to finish my Moon Knight Volume 1. I have a few more issues to collect to finish off that volume. And then, like we mentioned earlier, I want to get a Golden Age LB cold cover. And then the other thing I wanted to pick up was an Aquaman. Sorry, not Aquaman. Submariner #1 from both the Silver Age and the Submariner comics from the Golden Age. So those are the last few things that I'm targeting to finish off for the end of the year. Those are my collecting goals.
Okay.
So
your goal is to finish off by the end of the year.
Yep, that's the goal. Trying to, at least. You know, my big goal of the year was to get that Werewolf by Night 32, and I finally picked that up. So I'm happy either way. If I don't get the rest of those goals for the year, I'm happy because I was able to get my personal Grail. So that was a big check off for the list. But I know I'll be able to finish off my Moon Knight Volume 1, and then the last two are going to be one of those I'm going to have to find at a convention. And hopefully at some point I can meet up with some content creators during the convention season. So that'd be fun as well. But that's all I got.
Oh, you mean content creators, like meet some of the artists or writers? Is that what you mean?
No, like
actually meet up with some of the IG and Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whenever I go to conventions, I always try to meet the creators as well. But yeah, I was referring to like just meeting up with some of the local community members there at the conventions. So that was another one of my goals, just to meet up with new creators as well.
Got it.
Yeah, it's always just fun to meeting new local creators. Keep on saying content creators, and just like shooting the shit with them, you know.
All right. Well, if we can't think of anything else, I think that'd be a good wrap to our first episode.
Yeah.
Again, glad you were willing to volunteer to be guinea pig for this one.
I'm glad you thought of me to have me as the first person on. But it puts the added pressure on me.
Yeah, and you did an awesome job. Awesome job, especially being the first person to go through the half question.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough, but I was glad I was able to pick it up.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any questions you think I should have asked Dave.
Yeah.
Or I'm sure if you got any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer them. Just hit him up.
Yeah, if you want to ask any questions, put it down in the comments below.
I'll make sure his information's below in the description. And that's it for now. Until the next episode, I'm Scott from Hoarder's Hide.
I'm Dave, Marc Spector Comics.
See you next time.